Hello and welcome to Filmfolket's podcast. We that speaks today is Göran,
Johannes,
Daniel.
Today's movie is The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. The movie in brief.
It's 1925 in Mexico. Penniless drifters Fred Dobbs and Bob Curtin are hired to work at a ferry, but are cheated on the payment. Having heard talk of gold from Howard, an old prospector, they decide to give it a try. With the money reclaimed from their employer and Dobbs's lucky lottery ticket, they have the money for tools and set out by train in the old man's company for the country. As they strike gold out in the hills, distrust and greed start to overtake them. Who will get back home with the treasure of the Sierra Madre?
It's a good summary. And it's an interesting tale, especially when gold can drive you mad. Especially one in that company lost his mind and it got the better of him. So it was only two left that kept their humanity.
Genre-wise, this is a neo-western, which basically takes the themes and stylings of an old-time western in a more contemporary setting. It's interestingly enough, it's we had these themes of how greed changes a man, and it's basically how they go out seeking a treasure, but instead they find themselves, revealing who they really are. You have Dobbs, who is clearly not a good man from the start. Curtin isn't much better, but through their adversity, it's shown that Dobbs really has a darker side, and Curtin really is the more upstanding guy. And you have Prospector Howard is this central character with more experience, and he basically has seen all this before, and he tries to warn them, but it doesn't do much good. It's a morality play, kind of, where an adventure tests one character.
I find the characters very interesting because they all have unique personalities, if you say like that. But I think the two that stand out the most are Dobbs and Howard. Since I think those two are the ones you can't really trust when you're watching the movie in the beginning. Because Howard, who's supposed to be the older one, and he's been through it before, but we don't know if he's telling the truth in the beginning.
Yeah, he's this jovial kind of guy, but the way he talks, I mean, he's seen all this, and is he just putting up an act? Is he eventually going to betray them or something like that?
Exactly. So, if he's just cunning and trying to lure them in because the way he's talking, he's always so energetic too. And yeah, you kind of feel like, I don't know really where he is. He seems like a nice guy, but who knows how this is going to play out. And we already know from the beginning of the story that they've been tricked already while they're doing a job before. They didn't get paid. So we already know it's a story about greed and betraying people and such. So
yes, it sets the tone. It's a very well written movie in that regard, how it's built up, and it's actually been regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time. It won several Oscars. Walter Houston, who is director John Huston's father, who won Oscar for Best Supporting Actor as Howard.
And the whole, how the mood change from when they're in the city to when they're out in the prairie. I also like that. It's like two different movies almost, it feels like. And I guess that's where the whole neo-western comes.
This is pretty well done with a few tense scenes. You have some funny scenes. I mean, it's well rounded.
It's very good at keeping you interested. It's quite long movie, I would say, and but you never really feel bored. There's always something happening. It's always something interesting. Like you said, there's a little bit of comedy, a little bit of tragedy, and intense scenes. The pacing is great. And I think that's a hard thing to achieve when making a movie.
It's also interesting how they're doing when there's a black and white movie that we were talking about when they were out on the prairie, how they were doing with the makeup to make it look more.
Yes, you have some interesting storytelling there. How you have Dobbs, who is basically transformed by his own rotting morals. He comes out on the prairie all clean shaved, and by the end of it he's all scruffed up and dirty and hairy, and well, by contrast you have this Curtin who looks a lot better for it. I think that's interesting, and the way a few scenes, especially at night, are shot, I think they put some special makeup on Humphrey Bogart to make him look especially sinister.
It feels like he was turning into the one that they were working for in the beginning. He wasn't any better than he was. So that was like an interesting shift in his character.
And also one thing that's interesting, that Curtin, when the mine collapsed on Dobbs, it looks like he was thinking about leaving him there and taking like his share for himself. Or he was thinking like, if I don't save him, it's only a split between two people. But he soon realized that that's morally wrong. And after that, he seemed like he were more sure of himself that he wasn't gonna go down that road. And I really like that.
Yes, basically there are these scenes that are set up for characters making these moral decisions and the path they're going to take. I'm thinking especially when they have this outsider come in and they talk about shooting him and basically putting it down to a vote. And not exactly the most moral behavior, but later on diverging.
And the fact that you can see Dobbs fighting the urge to go the wrong way when it comes to the morally wrong way throughout the whole movie almost. So it's not like he is in fact a bad person like Howard said in the movie. It's just that it's what gold does to people.
Yeah, you have these several scenes where he's kind of fighting with himself, talking to himself, trying to justify things. And Howard basically points out that, that's what happens.
I was wondering what could have been done differently and other thoughts.
Yeah, that's a hard question in this movie. I think it's a well-rounded movie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree as well. especially what you said, it's good pacing. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. And it's a good split, especially in the beginning, and then when it turns more into the Western. In the other half of the movie.
One thing, Cody, the fourth guy coming into the party, which they decided to shoot, but they couldn't because bandits came along. He ended up dying anyway. I feel like I would have wanted him to be in the movie longer, so they made a stronger bond or something. So they would feel even worse when he actually died to bandits. I feel like it was too quick. But I guess the whole letter from his wife and such kind of makes up for it. But I still feel like it could have been a little longer bonding there.
He has a narrative purpose there of coming in as an outsider and basically challenging the situation and eventually dying. And I think that it could have been a longer sequence. I was wondering if the whole recurring bit about tigers out in Mexico, if that's a mistake of the production, or if it's some kind of colloquialism for the mountain lions, or if this is basically just to highlight how these people are completely out of their element out in the mountains.
I want to think it's the whole out of their elements thing. They're city people, and they do point it out several times in the beginning there that they should never have gone out there.
Story-wise, this was the inspiration for the Dead Money DLC of Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it also has a few lines referenced in Blazing Saddles and City Slickers too.
All right. What I was supposed to say before, Curtin was talking to Howard about what he was going to do with his share of the money. And he was talking about he wanted started a farm, a peach farm or what it was. Yes, peach farm. And the whole thing about Cody, his wife and such, they had a farm with fruit trees and stuff. So I feel like the connection between those two should have bonded over a longer period of time in the movie. So I think that could have done better. I feel like it was too short. But still, I still think it's a well-rounded movie.
One thing that could have been done differently, that's down to localization, but we were having some trouble with the subtitles. We were running this on English subtitles, mainly to catch up, and you have all these scenes where characters speak Spanish, because of course this is Mexico. A lot of these things weren't actually subtitled, which was peculiar, because they kept calling the donkeys burros, which is Spanish, so it's a funny choice if you're already subtitling the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand some part when there's like part in the story when they make it so you as a viewer are not supposed to know what's happening, and then they do the thing speaking Spanish. But sometimes I feel like I'm doing subtitling for this podcast, that I edited everything, so I think it also comes down to laziness almost. But I mean, you can see it in many ways why it is the way it is.
I mean, it's fine if it are these quick exchanges and you basically understand them by context. But in this movie, you have several scenes where they have not exactly long conversations, but a fair bit of spoken Spanish in one place, and I think would really help to subtitle that.
Yeah, I agree with that because there's a lot of the story that gets lost.
It's just an issue with the production of the Blu-ray.
So, any ideas for next time?
I've been keen on watching the Men in Black movie for a while now. Could be interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
So I wish you goodbye for this time. Don't forget to watch, like, and subscribe, and follow our social. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.